Hey folks, so today we are working on our solo skiff. This is a fiberglass solo skiff. I found it in northern Florida and I've been customizing this solo skiff to kind of be the ultimate boat for everything. I can actually fit this in the back of my truck. This is about a 14-foot haul roughly or so. It's self-bailing, and so this boat can kind of go everywhere. I can take it offshore, I can put it in the flats, it fits everywhere, and that's what I really like about it. Oh, hey. So what I'm doing today is I am putting some of this stuff on, some HydroTurf. So check out this HydroTurf. It has like wood grain. So this is EVA decking, but it's a name brand. It's called HydroTurf. You can get sheets of it. All I did was get sheets, but you get it at Tiny Boat Nation. This is like the same stuff they put on jet skis and other high wear areas, and this stuff sticks well. A lot of the John Boat guys use it, and John Boats, as you know, they get used. They have this stuff in camo, they have it in all sorts of stuff, but it's a peel back. So you just simply peel the back and you basically lay it on like a sticker, and then you can kind of cut and trim your edges. I mean, literally, I'm laying this on for like the first time in over a year. I have not done this for a long time. I'm not a pro, but it's turning out to look awesome. And so I'll be showing it to you here shortly. But all I'm using is, I am using a razor blade. So let me just grab out here. So literally, I picked up a $1.48 razor blade like this. It's one of those that you can like snap to like make sure they stay sharp. I just picked up one of these from like Ace Hardware, and the turf, the HydroTurf, it came from Tiny Boat Nation. And the reason why this is different than like the cheap Amazon stuff, which you probably saw me do on my other build. So when I did my other John Boat kind of build, it was a fiberglass boat. That boat, I used the cheap Amazon stuff, and it did start to peel along the edges and it stained. This stuff is like, I've done some research basically, and I trust the guys at Tiny Boat Nation because they're my friends and they're not gonna screw friends over, and they're not gonna screw you guys over. And this stuff's pretty awesome. It has wood grain though, which is important because the stuff on Amazon doesn't have wood grain. And so if you get any stains, it's gonna show more, or if it's dirty, it's gonna show more, versus this is stain repellent. And look at, you got all this grain here to kind of hide it when it's a little dirty. You know, the camo stuff is really forgiving. What I actually took off the boat, I took this stuff off the boat. So this is what originally was on the boat. And this stuff, you know, hides everything. So if you want to hide absolutely everything and you never clean your boat, then you can go this way. If you want to go the bougie way and have something super fancy that looks, you know, really sexy when it's sitting on the rack or on your trailer, but then it looks good on the water, but you have to keep it maybe a little bit cleaner, then you can go with something like this. And this stuff is gonna look good. So let me quick grab the phone here and I'll show you what this is looking like. Also, you guys are getting a sneak peek here at the Autoboat system, and you'll see how I mounted it on the front of this skiff. So this is the Autoboat Smart Head. So with the first gen Autoboat, it was a box, and you connected the box up to your tiller, you know, basic trolling motor, and it hijacked the motor and it gave it GPS, remote control, everything. Well, now you just take the head off of your trolling motor, which I actually have here. So this trolling motor had this head. This is a Minn Kota Riptide. So I basically popped the head off and I exposed the wires coming out of the shaft. There was a thin yellow, a thin white, and a thick red and a thick black. We only had to use the black and the red. And so you could like stuff down the thin wires, or you could just cut them, whatever. But basically inside the Autoboat, inside this part right here, are quick connectors and they quick connect to those wires. It was like effortless. And then this is the motorized collar. So this is what steers the motor. Long story short, I'll just show you how it works. Okay, so this was a tiller motor. Now it's a remote control motor, and there's gonna be other remotes that you can use as well. So right now it's on. It's so cool. We can hit throttle. And it has an app as well. So there's an app also for this, and they're creating some other remotes, which I'm not allowed to tell you about yet, but it's gonna be pretty epic. This app for this is completely free. They don't charge you for any features. If you use the discount code KayakDIY, you'll save like 5%, but I don't need to make money off you. I don't care about you using my promo code. You can use Alex Folguera's code. You can use code Florida. You can use code KayakDIY. I don't care. I just want you to save money. But right here, this is an adapter that converted a dumb motor into a smart motor. And now you have remote control, you have app control. You can do anchor mode, so push of a button. Now you can anchor. And this motor, if it ever burns out, I can just disconnect with the quick connectors, disconnect it, take my Autoboat system off, and find another one on Facebook Marketplace. I can find another one of these motors for like 50 bucks versus being stuck with a proprietary parts, system like Motor Guide or the iPilot system. I'm stuck with exactly their parts. I can't swap out. The Autoboat system works with a bunch of different motors. That's why I like it. Also, I like it because it's lighter. You can see here, this is so much lighter to mount versus a bulky bow mount. I mean, I don't like taking bow mounts on and off. They suck. They're kind of awkward. They're heavy. This is lighter. It lets me mount it onto kayaks. I can mount it onto skiffs easier. And now this skiff looks really sexy. But let's quick look at how I ended up doing some of the stuff on this skiff, because yeah, each time I get a little smarter, just a little bit. So yeah, a joystick remote, actually that would be pretty cool. I'll pitch that to them and we'll see. I don't know. I mean, basically the other thing too is this system here, the Autoboat system, oh, by the way, has a kill switch. So if for any reason you have to just boom, and now the system just shuts down and you don't have to worry about anything. And now it's back online. But you do have an emergency shut off if needed. You can just quick tap it. So like if you mounted this in the center of your kayak, it's quickly in reach. If something was happening, I don't know, and now it's off. But long story short, inside the head of this, you have a smart motherboard system that can accept firmware updates via the app. So this system can get smarter over time versus if you buy something else and it can't do that, guess what? It's not going to get smarter over time. So if you buy one of the other brands, you're stuck with what you got. But here we have a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be doing over the next year. For January, February, there's going to be a new remote that's going to be available to this. I can tell you about that one. It's going to be pretty epic. It's going to have like color screen, magnetically charged, kind of like dive gear is. Dive gear, you want to have it completely sealed, so you do a magnetic charger. So they have a high quality remote option that you're going to be able to sync up to this. We're also working on some other really cool stuff. But long story short, this system is not going to be outdated anytime soon. So that's kind of a look at how I got it. This, by the way, took me forever. This took me so long. So this is a stainless steel hatch that I put in so that we had access to the front to be able to put this mount here. By the way, the guys at Action Welding and Fab, not sponsored. They did not give me a deal. I paid full price, but they built me this mount on the front of here, and it was like less than 200 bucks. It was like 180 bucks or so. They built me this mount. So aluminum fabricators, maybe if you have one in your area, you can do something cool. You can dream up something really cool. And bonus points if you know how to do it yourself and build something like this. But I did not have the skills to make anything that sexy. But anyway, yeah, basically just made a flat plate. And this is just it's the power pole bolting pattern. So it's like 4.75 by 3.75. This black mount here, you can get right on Amazon. There's a few other ones. This was made by Newport, the company that makes trolling motors and everything else. Right here, this mount is just mounted to the aluminum mount that I had the company make. But I drilled a hole into the hatch to be able to put my plug. So I ended up buying this plug separately. I wanted like a quick release plug, and basically it just connects into there. The cool part is, you know, I don't have to drill an extra hole into the boat. And, you know, if I decided that I somehow didn't want this setup, or if I had to service this, replace the plug, I don't know. It just seemed like a cleaner way, and I knew I needed a hatch space anyway to get access. So why not put the plug in there? Key to drilling stainless steel, do not let it build up heat. If you try to drill it too fast, it hardens, and it makes it even harder to drill. So slow and steady, cobalt bits help. So cobalt bit is what we eventually went to. Harbor Freight has them, nothing special. But that's how we drilled that stainless steel hatch, which then kind of matches, you know, a little bit with the metal up here, and it just looks good. But how I started laying down this turf is I took a full sheet of this stuff, and I lined it up because I wanted the boards to line up with the center here. So I put a full sheet on here. I started peeling this edge and I stuck it down, and I just kept sticking. And I left the overhang. That was just the easiest way for me to do it. Sure, there's a little bit of waste, but it allowed me to be able to do it the easiest, because when you have lines of boards, it gets a little tricky versus if you do a camo print of HydroTurf, then it's forgiving. Like, you can lay it any way. You can lay the you know, the sheet sideways. It doesn't matter. So time to double tap that screen. Thanks. Yeah, so this sheet material was what was on the Skiff. So like this right here was right here. So that's what was right here. The Skiff has, you know, access point right here. This is where I have a battery, and I put a milk crate in there. But this is a fiberglass version of the Solo Skiff today. So the Solo Skiff that you get today is a plastic. This is a fiberglass one, and it actually weighs less. They're hard to find, but yeah, I ended up finding one in Facebook Marketplace, and I got a pretty good deal on it. So let's see. Oh, if you're motorizing your kayak or your whatever, for kayaks, a lot of times you need to have the manufacturer's certificate of origin. That allows you to be able to title the boat. That's in many states the way you have to go about doing it. So you can contact your kayak company that you got your kayak from, try to get the manufacturer's certificate of origin. Or if you're getting a kayak, make sure you keep the papers or ask your dealer for the manufacturer's certificate of origin. That way you can slap a motor on in most states. You have to title it, which not a big deal. I mean, for the amount of fun you get out of it, who cares? I mean, so let's see. So there was a little bit of residue here from the old turf, which, by the way, the old turf held up really well. I just wanted to have something different. I wanted to have, you know, this look. I like it with the seafoam. So with that seafoam bottom there, I really like, you know, the two-tone, the wood with that. Originally, when I was laying this stuff on, I had the turf go all the way to the edge, and I was concerned how well it would hold if water splashing constantly to that edge. So I actually freehanded it. I just took the knife and I ran my fingers along the edge here as a guide, and I just ended up cutting straight so that I could expose a little bit more of the white gel coat here. And that way it's laying more flat and it's not making a hard bend. Because this is my first time using this stuff. But I'm pretty sure it could have held. In fact, it was very hard to actually get this stuff off when I ended up making that cut and I was trying to peel this little strip off. It was super hard to get off, so it had already set up against the glass. Also, when I ended up laying this area here, you know, I end up making some cuts here just because I wanted to have a little bit more of the white exposed on the gel coat. Well, you can actually see some of the adhesive here that's stuck. So I got a little bit of adhesive remover, and I'll get that cleaned up in no time. This is the adhesive remover I'm using. Let's see, where did I put it? Let me look. Oh, right here. So I just found this at Ace Hardware. Literally, it says goof off. That's kind of what I do in any given day. I just goof off. But I just sprayed a little bit of that on the adhesive that I want to get off. But I need to make sure I get all of this stuff off so that I don't have any overspray on areas that I want to put turf on, because that would be a problem. Let's see. What else? When I bought it, it already had these Scotty mounts right here, which is kind of nice. I just happened to find that I had some rod holders that were Scotty already, so I just slapped them on there. I actually don't prefer this style of rod holder of Scotty. They have some that are called like rocket launchers. I prefer those because they hold a little bit on my larger rods easier. These aren't actually my favorite style of Scotty rod holders, but I just slapped them in there for now because it's better than nothing. It has this right here, and these are for a push pole to be able to creep through the flats. I don't have a push pole, probably not gonna use one, so I just kept them there. Maybe in the future, if I sell this, the next owner might want it, but yeah. Oh, thank you. We gotta fish, dude. We do have to fish. We should fish together. If you come to Southwest Florida, you need to get a hold of me. So, good name. I like the name of your page. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's looking good. The thing I like about it is it's a little bit bigger than a kayak, so my daughter can come with me. So some people think I'm a sellout and that I'm going to a micro skiff and I'm leaving the kayaking world. And shame on him. He's KayakDIY and we watch this. Dude, I'm doing this because I want to be able to have someone go with me, like my daughter or so. So it's just a little bit easier. It's a little more comfortable. That's the reason. So otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat a kayak. I mean, a kayak, I can drag. I don't have to worry about it. I dragged my Hobie all the time. But, this I'm not going to be able to drag very well. But I did find that the kayak cart works pretty well. So that's just a kayak cart that came with one of the kayaks I bought. Nothing special. I think it's maybe Wilderness Systems. I don't know. But yeah, this is actually very easy to wheel around. And the reason why I like it so much is it has this big grab bar right here. So it's super easy to just grab and lift. Look at that. It's super easy. So that's one of the things I like about it. I'm not sure where else should I put the turf. Like, I'm kind of eyeballing. I'm like, I don't want to overdo turf, but I do think it needs more. I would like it if I could just clean up this and leave this white, but technically that's actually where I stand the most. So I should probably have turf there. I just might cut it in a little bit so you get a little bit more of the lines there. And then I do think I'll put turf up here where that area is, and might put a little bit there just because this is maybe where, if I do gas tank, if I do a gas outboard, I'll end up possibly putting a gas tank there. And so that will help kind of deaden the sound of the gas tank if it shifts any. I don't know. The only little area that got a little bit beat up at one point, I guess, on this when I bought it is I'm wondering if like someone nicked it with something. I don't know what they put on here to like fix that, but it looked kind of boogery. It looks kind of gross right there, but who cares? It's gonna get used. So this is a solo skiff. The company still exists. The company currently makes this in a plastic version. This is a fiberglass version. This is the first ones they made in fiberglass. They're harder to find, but you can put turf kits on the plastic one too. And actually the plastic ones are very thick. They're very thick material, much thicker than any kayak out on the market. It's like 1/2 inch thick almost. It has like this weird like foam and plastic or something blend. So their new plastic ones are awesome. In fact, if the company wants to send me one, I'll end up keeping both. I'll keep this one and I'll keep a Solo Skiff that's plastic if the company sends me one. But I bought this one because they don't show up on the market very often. And so I just grabbed this one. They're just a hair lighter than the plastic ones, but the plastic ones, you can just drag them. Like, you can beat them up and you don't feel bad. I'm gonna feel a little bit bad if I start chewing up this nice sea foam color, you know, gel coat. So there is a trade-off to beauty. You know, it just feels wrong if I abuse it. I mean, even if you have the money to abuse it, it seems wrong to do it because someone else would really appreciate this. And I appreciate it. I like it. I think it's gorgeous. I think it looks awesome. I don't want to abuse it and drag it. But if I get one of the plastic ones, man, that would be like my daily rider. That would be like the one that I just beat the heck out of. So yeah, definitely check out Solo Skiff if you're interested, because what's cool about them too is if water comes over the bow, it runs right out the back. There's no scuppers, you know, there's no scuppers like kayaks have. Scuppers create drag. So if there's a bunch of scuppers, everything, for one, it would create drag. It makes it slower. This just glides across the water and coasts. So you'll see some other Solo Skiff looking things like this, but they'll have scuppers. No, that's not what you want. So those are the cheaper ones. You want to go with the Solo Skiff brand because it's just much better. It really is. So yes, nerd. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. So yeah, the only thing you maybe missed if you came in late is we were talking a little bit about the new Autoboat smart head system. And long story short, I'll just keep it very short and to the point. The shaft of this, it originally was this. It originally was a Minn Kota Riptide trolling motor. But this company, Autoboat, makes what's called the smart head, and it drops onto these basic Minn Kotas, basic Newport motors, a variety of motors. Like, it fits more than one brand of motor. And what's cool is it's cost effective. If anything happens to this motor and it burns out, breaks, I can just throw in another garage sale or Facebook Marketplace trolling motor into it and mount it to the Autoboat smart head. So there's benefits to that. Hit that like button, guys. Oh, like button. I was like, like button? It's all good. As I said, I tend to goof off. Oh, if many of you probably haven't seen much of my house. So we bought this house in like 2015. It didn't have this cement pad. We put the cement pad in, and then I got a whole bunch of different kayaks, and I deliver kayaks to vacation homes. And that's like one of my other side hustles that allows me to do this also full time, because I went to school for nursing, and then I started making YouTube videos, and you awesome people ended up, you know, supporting me, having fun, making videos, you know, having projects. And I wanted to be able to quicker get out of the nursing profession to be able to do this more full-time. So I ended up doing a kayak rental business. My wife had the smart idea. She's much smarter than me. She's like, hey, you got all these kayaks, why don't you rent them? So we do kayak deliveries. We deliver them to the vacation homes that are on the water. Because this area where we live, there's so many canals. So we're on a canal and it leads out into the Gulf. There's like 400 miles of canal homes. So like almost everyone lives on the water. And it sounds expensive, and it is maybe now, but in 2015 it wasn't. Like, you could buy this house for like what you could buy the average home like in Sioux Falls, South Dakota area where I used to live. Yeah, over 400 miles of canals. Yeah, there's so many canals. It's almost like a Venice, Italy type deal. where like you can literally boat to friends' houses. It's pretty cool. I'll show you what the canals look like. So I'll show you what these canals look like. I mean, hopefully we're not gonna have too much of an issue with reception or anything, but you can see right here. So when we bought the house, it didn't have a boat lift or anything. We put in a boat lift, we put in the dock, but it had this big seawall here. That's a kayak launch. And this basically canal, you do 2 turns and you end up out into like the Gulf. I mean, it's a deep water canal. That boat's like 40 feet. But yeah, this is where I do my boat builds. I got I'm kind of in the process of cleaning up, so disregard all that. Just don't even look at it. Inside here, I just got my pressure washer, and it allows me to just kind of stuff everything in there, and I just kind of keep it up here. And when I need it, then I can pressure wash the boats and stuff. Yeah, I got to clean up all this here eventually, but yeah, that's kind of. You're in the same town, just northeast. Oh, what the heck? Why haven't we linked up yet? I mean, I'm going to be testing this out here probably this weekend or next weekend. I don't know. If you want to come hang out with me, I mean, that'd be cool. Oh, man, thanks, Gassner. Oh, thanks. Dude, I never get those. Thank you so much. I wish I had something. Gassner, are you in the U.S.? Do you live in the U.S.? Just curious. No, you don't. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to think of what. Where are you from then? KSA. Forgive me. I'm a little bit of a redneck and I don't know what that is. What's that stand for? Saudi Arabia. Oh, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate that a lot. I was just trying to think. I'm like, I've never shipped anything to Saudi Arabia, so I don't know about shipping stuff, but I try to, take care of people that help me out. I mean, I'll still look into it or so. Message me on Instagram. We should at least, stay connected. And if I have a chance, I might send you something cool if I can figure out how to ship it. I find prehistoric megalodon shark's teeth. And so, I mean, I was going to send you like a prehistoric megalodon shark's tooth or something, but because we scuba dive for them. Anyway, yeah, I'm just caught off guard. I've never had anyone really on live send me anything, so that's cool. We've just been very blessed to have an awesome community on YouTube. And when our house ended up flooding from Hurricane Ian a few years ago, the community came together. They helped our family. And I'm just super in debt to you guys. I really am. Like, I'm so appreciative to the support that we've gotten, and we're going to keep trying to pay it forward. So, yeah. Let's see. What else can we talk about on this here? I mean, at some point, I'm going to go live when I'm on this thing, and then I'll show you what it can do. Like, I'll show you what this can do. I'll show you, just how skinny it runs. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get something cool with it. I mean, lately I've been trying to catch sharks. We've actually caught some sharks on this before we rigged it up. That was pretty fun. We have a video on it. We ended up doing a shark catch and cook because there's so many sharks in the area. And I know people are going to be like, you killed a shark? Well, yes, I did, because there's a lot of them. And I follow the laws, and we ended up eating it, and we didn't let any go to waste. We actually used the scraps for a crabber. A guy that was crabbing, we ended up providing the scraps to him, and then he caught crabs. So like every bit of that shark went to a useful purpose. So let's see. Oh, on here, the factory, it says 1 person's or 265 I think it's like 5 or 6 horsepower. It's kind of hard to see. I'm gonna have to, you know, maybe get a new sticker or something. I don't know. Most people, I think, put a 6 horsepower on these, if I remember right, and they tend to go pretty fast. I think they do like almost 20 miles an hour with the 6 horsepower, which is pretty sweet. Sometimes I run an e-propulsion motor on there because I do have one. The company Tiny Boat Nation gave me an e-propulsion to play with to get familiar with it so I could share it with you guys. But I do like it. It's very torquey, like it's very instant throttle response, but it's not for everyone. Like if you want to go really, really far and you want to not have that range anxiety, you either need a second battery to carry on board, which it's a 48 volt, or you need to, you know, go with a gas one and then have an external tank. But let's see, what other things that can we just talk about? Oh, some of you guys, this is a follow-up from a previous video. This right here, inflated topper, the company did supply it to me, but this has now survived 2 hurricanes and it has never come off my truck since I first made the video. It has not come off the truck. It's been staying on the truck the entire time. I put boats on top of it, kayaks on top of it. I go down the highway with boats on top of it. I strap them down. This thing is pretty epic. You know, I could stuff a bunch of my kayaks in there, and then I end up using this Boondocks hitch extender. I mean, I abuse the heck out of this thing. So just shout out to, you know, Flated, because man, that is like my favorite thing pretty much that I probably have gotten from any company to test was that. Like, yeah, it's pretty dang awesome. And it shrinks down to the size of like an inflatable paddleboard when you don't want it, but I've never gotten to that point. It's only 5 PSI too in that. It's made out of that like paddleboard material, but the difference is it's welded seams, not adhesive. There's no adhesive seams on any critical areas, so you don't have to worry about it being in the Florida heat where it's hot and those seams blowing out because the adhesive weakens. You don't have to worry about that with that. I literally have no care in the world having that on my truck all the time. Like in Florida, not worried at all. And after the hurricane, beat the hell out of it and it didn't do anything. I mean, it's crazy. Battery. Oh, battery. So the battery I'm using, I do have a battery sponsor, full disclaimer. I use Lifetime batteries right here. This is a 100 amp hour mini. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery. But Lifetime batteries is what I use, and what I mean, I would have preferred them anyway before they gave me a sponsorship, just because they're budget friendly. I mean, some of the other ones, I hate to say it, like Dakota Lithium, they are very expensive. And I'm really wondering, what do you get out of them that you don't get in this? Because I don't understand how some companies' batteries are lithium iron phosphate and they cost like 2 to 3 times the money. It's idiotic. This company has pretty affordable batteries. They were the largest sponsor, I think, for ICAST. They were one of the largest sponsors for ICAST in Orlando, which is like a huge fishing event. And you don't just do that unless you're a pretty big company. Like, they're doing things right. Clearly, they're going to be around for a long time. They're not like a fly-by-night company, but they're also not an expensive company. They're not expensive batteries. They're pretty affordable for the lithium iron phosphate. And these minis are like the smallest 100 amp hour battery you can get. So if you look at the mini ones, that's pretty cool. Well, now what this doesn't have is it doesn't have Bluetooth. So it doesn't have Bluetooth, and that means you can't monitor the battery life that you have left. But we are working on something with Autoboat where we're going to be able to hopefully get a better idea of what kind of capacity is in lithium iron phosphate batteries, as long as they're connected to the Autoboat. Because via the app, I should be able to look and I'll be able to get a better idea. The problem with trying to monitor lithium iron phosphate batteries is that they maintain a voltage almost to the very end, and then boom, that voltage drops and then the battery's dead. So if you just try to monitor battery voltage on a lithium battery, it's not very effective. It doesn't give you hardly any information on how much battery life you have. It's very, very small voltage drops, very small. It's just a very, very small curve versus lead acid batteries and the older technology batteries that you've probably seen like 10, 15 years ago. Those batteries, the cheapos, they will drop voltage really fast. And so you'll get a better idea of how much life you have on that battery before your motor's not gonna run. But that 100 amp hour Mini runs this 45 pound thrust Minn Kota Riptide with the Autoboat conversion. It runs it like the whole day easily for me, and usually 2 days of fishing. Because for one, when you're running like a GPS motor like this, the Autoboat, it's more efficient than the crank tillers. So like this crank tiller that was on here, it had 5 speeds. Well, I might not always need that much power. Like this only delivers as much power as what I need. Like, so for instance, if I'm trying to hold in current, it is constantly adjusting throttle and anchoring me in position, holding me where I need to be. And so it's just more efficient than if I were trying to control the throttle with a tiller and hold my position. Not sure if that makes sense. But yeah, basically more efficient speed controller built in. I get a little wordy sometimes on these live things, but let's see. Trying to think what else we got going on here. Basically, I'm just gonna try to finish this out. We're gonna try to cut a template for this. Oh, I know what I need to do. So I sprayed some of that adhesive remover here. I'm gonna probably spray just a little bit more. And then I'm gonna try to pressure wash and see if I can strip some of this adhesive off of here. So. There we go. So now you can see me. Power. So I'm gonna grab the adhesive remover. I'm gonna do some quick little squirts on the areas where there used to be turf, because there's still just some of this adhesive hanging on here. But I do not want to get this stuff on this stuff, because that would just not be good. So I'm being very careful about overspray and the breeze and the wind. Okay, so I sprayed a little bit of that stuff on. I'm not sponsored, by the way. Everyone's skeptical of influencers, YouTubers, when we start showing stuff. I'm not sponsored by this. I just bought it at Ace Hardware. So, but we're gonna. And this is just to try to get rid of any of the loose adhesive and get it as clean as I can, so that way I can end up laying some more of this turf. So after I'm done spraying it off and trying to remove some of the grime, I'm then going to take rubbing alcohol, and that helps get rid of the oils and stuff. And I'm just going to put it on a rag, soak it up, and just wipe down the areas that I'm going to lay the new turf on. Now I can use the old turf as a template for the new turf. I can just basically lay it on the back white part of the sheet, and I can just marker it out with a marker and just cut it right out. some really tough stains in here, but it slowly but surely is actually getting cleaned up. So that's nice. I mean, because from the factory, they put a little bit of this non-skid material on here, and you know, it is nice to know that I can basically restore it back to what I want, you know, like back to the original state, and that nothing I'm doing really is creating permanent damage. Like me putting this turf on here, the turf is technically removable. It's not going to come off easy, but it's technically removable. But I would not want to get this too close to this. Although, in order to get the old turf off, I had to put this right up against the edge of the old turf in order to get it off. Try regular glass cleaner. Okay. Yeah, pulse width modulator is way better. Yeah, which is basically what is inside that Autoboat head, is a digital controller. Thank you for the correct terminology. I was having a mental block. And then you said try regular glass cleaner. That's actually a very good idea. I just don't have any right now. But yeah, that's probably also a good idea. But yeah, the Tiny Boat Nation guys, I talked to them and they said that alcohol would work really well to get any oils off. The guys across the canal are trying to cut down a palm tree. So that's what the noise is. Apparently they didn't get the memo. We're trying to film alive here, okay? I gotta take care of you guys. They can't be cutting down trees right now. That's not okay. People just don't get it. Okay, I took 10 off of a car when I worked at a dealership, and I tried everything to get the adhesive off. Used a car seal, came out and sprayed it with regular glass cleaner and it wiped right off. Huh. Like what kind of glass cleaner? Is there a specific one? Hey, Russia. Is there a specific glass cleaner? Like, is it 409 or is it like one of those like aerosol ones? Or I was just curious. I'll give it a try. I'll probably put some of this turf on something and then peel it off and try to leave some adhesive on. And I'll give it a try for the sake of science. I mean, well, I am reading your guys' comments here. I'm just also pressure washing this because I'm really anxious to get it out on the water. Well, I don't know that, yeah, maybe glass cleaner is what it is required. That goof off stuff doesn't do much. So don't buy that stuff for this. So this is a reverse sponsorship. I'm saying don't buy it. Because this stuff, it hasn't done anything. Have I been in a situation with Karens? Well, yes. I have neighbors that sometimes don't like what I do. Sometimes they're nice, but sometimes they don't like what I do. So, not sure if you could hear that. Woo! You guys should see this. This is like some ASMR, like, it's so satisfying to see. Oh, are we back? Dude, I didn't know that. I accidentally muted it when the water got on my screen. The water got on my phone and I accidentally muted it. That was my fault. Sorry, guys. Thanks for bringing awareness to that. I was wiping my screen to try to get the water off of it because I got sprayed on the screen and I accidentally bumped the mute. So, my bad. What I was trying to say is I have Karens that live next to me, around me sometimes. Sometimes they don't like what I'm doing. They don't like my boat projects. But I don't live in an HOA. I live in a non-HOA area. And so I don't know. But I also have really cool people too that live next to me that like rebuild fishing rods and help me with like fixing my rods and stuff. So it's a trade-off. Can't win them all. But other than that, I really haven't had too many issues, except when I did peacock bass fishing on the other coast. But we were kind of sneaking into HOA neighborhoods and fishing those ponds, and then we snuck on a golf course. So we kind of deserved it. So they weren't really Karens. We deserved it. But as long as you know the risks and you choose to accept those, you know. But like we chose to risk it because we wanted to try to get into some of these areas. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that. It didn't say no fishing. In our defense, it never said no fishing. We just know that it was going to be a gray area where we probably shouldn't have been there. Oh yeah. So that goof off spray really helped get that adhesive off now. Like the adhesive is pressure washing off now. Like it's not stuck to the fiberglass. And that fiberglass, it's non-skid here fiberglass. So there's a lot of surface area for that adhesive to stick to. That spray actually is working and it's doing its job. It's like dissolving it almost. This is gonna look nice. Well, let's see. What do we got going on here? Oh, I had a scroll here. Let me see. I gotta catch up. Well, I just wanted to tell LEX to give you a call and tell you you've muted. Yeah, I talk with LEX quite a bit. He actually has one of the Autoboat smart heads as well. We're having him do some testing with it as well. Let's see. I'm reading your stuff. Hey, what's up? Hey. You can still give me the glass cleaner for Christmas. That's okay. No, that's all good. But we need to link up to do some fishing. So message me on Instagram. And then we can link up, make sure we have updated contact info for each other. And then I'll be taking this out pretty soon. So, I mean, yeah. We can fish together. I don't just collab and hang. Like I don't just hang out with other YouTubers. Like I don't care. I'll hang out with anyone, especially if you're my fan. If like you watch my videos and you support me, I mean definitely that's the kind of people I want to hang out with anyway. And I mean it's very chill. Like if I don't care. I'm not going to judge your fishing or anything. We're going to pack a cooler. We throw it on the skiff or on the kayak, and we just go and have a good time. I don't care. I'm pretty laid back dude. Oh yeah, the longer I let that adhesive remover sit on there, the more it's like just flaking off. Actually, it looks like the EVA decking that was on here did a good job of protecting the fiberglass underneath. Because if you didn't have the EVA decking, then everything you do, if you drop anything on the deck, it's gonna possibly damage the deck. This deck actually is looking like brand new now. So, I mean, you put it on ahead of time when you first get the boat, it really actually does a good job of protecting it. It's protecting the gel coat. Now, I know this wouldn't work for the adhesive, but that magic eraser stuff works for about everything else I've noticed. I mean, like, it's amazing. I don't know if you guys have used it like for things, but that magic eraser stuff, you can get the generic stuff even, and it's like the same thing. I think it's like some melamine or something. That stuff just eats away all sorts of stains. It's amazing. So what's everyone doing this weekend? This pressure washer is pretty powerful. I actually took a tiny, tiny little chip out of my gel coat. Don't do that. It's tiny, it's very tiny, but it definitely chipped it out. So I think I need to keep it a little further away. I mean, I don't have the highest pressure tip, and it's an electric pressure washer, not a gas one, so it doesn't have as much PSI, but yeah, it popped off a little bit of the non-skid. But I'm covering it up with EVA decking anyway, so. Well, thank you to like the 38 people that have been hanging out here with me. I definitely appreciate it, and you know, thanks again once again to Gas Nerd for, you know, from Saudi Arabia for sending that money. I never ask for money from my viewers, but I definitely appreciate it. It helps me with being able to share stuff, and yeah, that was super cool. But I feel like at this point, I'm not providing you guys any more value other than you watching me pressure wash. So I'm gonna end up ending the live stream, and then I'll have it saved on the channel so you guys can watch back through to see if I said anything else that you wanted or that you thought was interesting. About the only thing I did that I talked about was the HydroTurf. that I put on here, which is that kind of brown turf that you see right here. And I kind of explained how I laid it on. It comes in full sheets. And then I ended up talking a little bit about the Autoboat Smart Head system, which is mounted on the front. So that's kind of a recap. And then we showed a little bit of the backyard, explained a little bit about the house and different things. So yeah, we'll see you later. And hopefully we got a fish dude we can hopefully link up. So yeah, I will. Peace.